Welcome to Ride Boundless. Today we're coming straight off the range with Osvaldo, Mr. Mayso from Triggerology, a good friend, repeat guest on the podcast, and someone who lives and breathes responsible training, discipline, and education. In this episode, we break down what actually happened on range day, kettlebell sprints, pistol, shotgun, and rifle work, and how physical stress changes decision making. This wasn't about tactics for the internet. It was about control, safety, and accountability. We also talk about something bigger, the California open carry gun ban being overturned, what that really means, what it doesn't mean, and how court decisions continue to shape responsibility. Not chaos, no headlines, no panic, just real conversation grounded in facts, training, and common sense. This episode is brought to you by Asphalt Angels. Asphalt Angels is a rider-led nonprofit focused on education, prevention, and real support for riders affected by motorcycle accidents. Not politics, not noise, real help, from safety awareness to post-accident support, built by riders for riders. You can learn more or get involved at asphalt-angels.org. If you ride, train, or believe responsibility matters, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Osvaldo, welcome back to Ride Boundless. Happy New Year's 2026.
Happy New Year.
We just came from the range, and now we're going to jump into cleaning our guns and talk about, we're not going to talk about it right now, but the Supreme Court, was it the Supreme Court, passed the law for California about open carry?
So that, no, it was not the Supreme Court. It was actually what's called the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. There was a decision recently that said that the law in California that bans open carry is unconstitutional, which it is.
Which we'll get into later on what that means and what to expect, which is a huge deal. But we just came back from the range, and now we're going to do a quick cleanup or basic cleanup because we need to keep these guns clean because we rely on them, right?
That's absolutely right. Any tool that you use to defend your life, you most definitely want to have it in tip-top shape at all times if possible. So, yeah, we just came back, had an outstanding time at the range.
Outstanding time.
My goodness.
Beautiful range. What's the name of the range?
It's Rahagi's Shooting Enterprises.
Mike Rahagi.
Yeah. In Corona, California /Eastville. Wonderful. They've always been great to me. My classes there, great facilities, so much fun. You get to do your own thing. We ran, we sweated.
No, we had fun, but shout out to the range. It was a clean range. It was a nice range. Everybody was professional, good sense of humor, but very strict, and they run a tight ship. So
they sure do.
Good experience. That was my first time there. And we did run, we did hustle. We brought a kettlebell. Who brings a kettlebell to the range? He brought a kettlebell. We ran with the kettlebell. We did some exercises, and it was a lot of fun.
Made me remember how old I am.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I had a stretch, and
limbering up.
Yeah.
No, that was hella fun.
It was a good experience.
Yeah.
So how do you want to dive into this?
So the first things first.
As we clean, do we talk about things, or
do we want
to talk
absolutely.
about just the cleaning, or what do you want to do?
We can most certainly, because as you manipulate a gun, all kinds of things come up in topics. For example, the very first thing for the YouTubes, obviously, and for social media. Whenever you're going to touch a gun, just for the whole thing about algorithms and, anyone who feels queasy about the Second Amendment, you have to show that the gun is safe to manipulate.
Got it.
That's not loaded.
Got it.
It's all clear. There's no magazine in there. There's no magazine here.
Nothing on the side. Clear.
These are safe weapons to manipulate. So those are the very first things that you have to, take care of when we're doing a video
I think with Glock,
Okay, I'm not going to say with Glock, but with certain brands of guns, it's usually when people are trying to take the slide out, there's usually a bullet because you have to push the release. You have to push the trigger to release the slide. I think it's the number one cause of incident for people shooting their own hand.
The number one cause of that's what we call a negligent discharge.
Yeah.
Is that people didn't verify that there wasn't a round in the chamber.
Yeah.
And then they go and pull the trigger, and there you go.
Which I've seen many videos of people that have shot their own hands, and they have made a video explaining how stupid it was. And I appreciate them sharing that video.
Oh yeah.
And showing the wounds, and some people shoot their finger off. So that's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, always, como dicen en español, el diablo empuja. So always check.
Yeah, always check it. Make sure that it's clear and ready to manipulate. Clear. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we can start taking them apart. The first thing that I can talk about actually is that California just passed a law that not a lot of people are very familiar. The governor Gavin Newsom signed it. Let me put my gloves on because I don't want all this gun oil on my hands. Gavin Newsom signed a law recently that makes the purchasing of firearm parts and accessories extremely difficult.
Really?
Yeah.
So more complicated illegal.
More complications, difficulties for you to be able to exercise your Second Amendment rights. So what he did was that basically any part that is a part of a firearm or an accessory to a firearm is going to have to be shipped. You're going to have to buy it through a licensed gun dealer. No longer are you going to be able to buy those parts through online retailers and get sent to your home. The main part that's the subject of this law is this part right here. Gun barrels. Gun barrels will be very soon, I believe, is by summer of 2026. You will no longer be able to buy them online and receive them in the mail. You're gonna have to go through a certified firearms dealer and take possession of it through the firearm dealer, and you're gonna have to go through a background check.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. However, it's the law is known as it's going to affect barrels, but it's going to affect any other part that's essential to the function of a firearm.
Now, a lot of my listeners own guns. They have guns.
Yep.
They like guns. But there's a lot of people trying to learn, and even I'm trying to learn. What would be a reason why somebody would buy a new barrel?
Oh, that's a great question. So, like anything that's mechanical, these are mechanical tools,
Right.
and parts break. And whenever parts break or parts are made that are perhaps improvements, right? Updates to firearm technology. Most people want to get access to that,
Yeah.
right? And the problem with this new law being now that you're just gonna have to jump through hoops that nobody else in the rest of the country has to go through, by the way.
Right.
The vast majority of the other states have no such restriction to buying spare parts. Let's just call them like that.
Yeah.
Spare parts. Barrels break, triggers break, excuse me. Springs go lose functionality, they get loose and all that, and you need to replace them. You shouldn't have to go through a third party.
Are barrels? Would you replace a barrel just because it breaks or it has issues, or is there performance barrels? Is there
absolutely
sporting barrels? What are other reasons other than malfunction or broken that somebody would change their barrel.
There are
And what is the devil's advocate of like, oh, the bad guys would change, buy a gun, change their barrel, and they can't trace it, or like what's the big deal with the barrel? Because out of all the pieces, there's a lot of functional pieces here.
correct. It's not just the barrels, but you're most certainly right. Most of the parts that constitute a firearm, you can get more parts that are more better performance, that look better. There are people who like the aesthetics, change the aesthetics of a gun. Like, for example, how you did the stippling on your gun here.
Shout out to Bob and Robert for that.
Absolutely, beautiful work. So your guns are, bottom line, they're your possession. They're your private possession.
Right.
A lot of people like to customize and make them their own.
Right, like a motorcycle.
Absolutely. That is why the Second Amendment community and motorcycle community has so much similarities, and wanting to be free and to express yourself and your possessions, right, and all that. You shouldn't have to go through asking permission to somebody to alter your property however you want it. The devil's advocate thing is, criminals are buying these parts and building their own guns. So people who shouldn't own guns are being able to build guns
At home.
Or what have you.
Because a 3D printer, I guess the only thing you really need is a firing pin after you 3D print it, and a barrel, right?
If you 3D print, or if you purchase, just parts and then assemble them at home into a firearm, whether it's 3D printed or bought, a background check is not going to stop anyone who intends to do a bad deed with this gun. If you already are of the mentality that you're going to walk into a place and kill innocent people, a background check is not going to stop you.
Right.
You're not, and more than likely, you're not going to go somewhere go through a background check. Some people have, but at the end of the day, you need to, the good people who are going to be potentially in a situation like that, faced with an individual who has no regard for other people's lives, those people should have access to be able to do whatever it is that they deem necessary to their firearm, whether it's for functionality or put it to their liking, customize it, whatever. So what that law is going to do is effectively just put another hurdle on the good people who own firearms, but it's not going to stop.
Yeah, it's not going to stop the bad guys.
No, absolutely not. So that's kind of sucks.
What would you say percentage of these laws that they create? How effective is it for the bad guys versus how much it's messing with legal citizens? Like 80%, it's affecting legal citizens for no reason, and 20% it has an effect, or even more.
No effect. So
no
here's
effect.
no.
Zero effect.
Here's the thing. If you are someone whom we commonly refer to as a criminal, right? You have criminal intents. What's your number one incentive is whether you believe that you're going to get away with it or not.
Right.
With the deed, with the act. Whatever comes before that, you have the benefit of forethought, of going through the entire, what your decision process is and what your tactics are going to be, whatever it is that you're intending to do, whether you commit robbery, armed robbery, right? Which, by the way, any crime you can commit with any tool, not just firearms.
Right. It could be a screwdriver.
Absolutely.
I have a quick question because I
think
it was a comedian or somebody that said this. He goes, and it was just a question. I don't even know if you know the answer.
Yeah, what's up?
If you make an ice pick out of ice and you stab somebody and it melts and they can't provide proof of the weapon, can somebody potentially get away with that?
Absolutely. 100%.
So if we make ice guns,
Holy shit. Okay.
no, but yeah, that's crazy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't have a weapon to. Same
Well,
thing.
and
Even Louis C.K. had one where he was like,
Yeah.
it's interesting that the number one concern the court systems have when you kill someone, the number one concern they have is, what was going on through your mind at the time, man? Like, what happened? You know, what's going? How did you feel when you did it? And
Right.
that is what your sentence is based on.
Correct. Whether you had an intent or not.
Right.
It's
was
wild.
it rage? Were you sad?
Correct,
Were you
correct.
depressed?
Yes.
Were you happy?
It's
based off how you feel.
And also there are enhancements for whatever tool you decided to use.
Right.
Which it's kind of messed up when you come to think about it from the perspective of the victim and the victim's loved ones, because you died.
Right.
The person died no matter what, whether they were killed with a gun or with an ice pick
Right.
or a screwdriver.
died.
That person's dead.
Right.
So the intent was there. The thing about, oh, you did it with a AR-15, we're gonna throw more time on you.
Right.
Which you have heard politicians talk about stuff like that.
Threaten, yeah.
Yeah. So it's wild.
Yeah.
No, man. The deed was done, right? You took somebody's life. If you wanna just douse your gun with the solvent, put it through on the inside, the inside of the barrel.
Oh.
Yeah. No, man, it's pretty wild that we've come to as a society to blame more the tool that was used rather than the person and the bad intent that they put behind it. Because you have you heard this term gun violence?
Yes.
There's a term used that it's called gun violence, and it's mainly used by people who believe that the reason why we have crime is because in the United States people are able to own firearms, right? That we have a right to own firearms, but then you don't hear knife violence, you don't hear shovel violence. Hammer violence.
I would say the number one killer probably is drunk drivers in cars hitting people. I would say more people are dying from pedestrians getting struck by cars. You know, not even drunk drivers, pedestrians.
In the United States, murder or death by firearm is way lower than by drunk drivers.
You know, I'm going to do a quick fun fact. Real quick, there's going to be a lot. Give me 5 of the top deaths that beat gun deaths in the United States yearly. If that made any sense.
So in the U.S., gun deaths get a lot of attention, but some causes still surpass them yearly. Typically, things like heart disease, which is the leading cause of death, cancer, which is right up there as well, and then chronic lower respiratory diseases. Beyond those, accidents, things like car crashes are a big factor, and strokes also rank high. So those 5, heart disease, cancer, respiratory diseases, accidents, and stroke tend to be the top ones.
And there's probably a list of 20 before you even get to guns. But guns, they want to make laws and restrictions and...
Correct.
Yeah. I just did this so people don't go, look at these motherfuckers, they have guns and that's of course they're going to say.
Yeah.
ChatGPT said that. What's up?
Correct. But
aside, I'm kidding.
No, even crimes committed with fist and feet and kick, kicking and punching, more people die from those.
Yeah.
People are choked to death, blunt objects. That's why.
There's so more. Yeah.
Now
I heard there's a statistic. Again, I'm gonna pull it up if you haven't heard this. Babies falling in buckets of paint.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Well, drowning, just drowning,
drowning,
of
a
infants.
swimming pool, yeah.
In any way, shape, or form, falling in a bucket full of water or whatever, mopping water, or in their bathtubs, right? A bathtub that was left running by mom or dad or whatever, and the kid was unattended.
Back to my point earlier about the birthday and congratulations. Another year, we made it.
Yes, sir.
The parent made it.
Yes, sir, we did. No, brother. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's incumbent upon the individual, right, to have presence of mind. Hey, is my kid going to get hurt? You know, if I leave this water unattended, or here's the other thing, education, right? Was one of the first things that we go through with our kids. Hey, you see those knives right there in the kitchen? Hey, that can cut you.
Yeah.
Don't mess with that unless I'm
Don't
around.
touch that. It's hot.
Giving you. I'm going to show you how to use it. Correct. Hey, don't touch the
stove.
The stove.
Don't touch the stove.
You know, a kid can lose their hand by touching
Oh yeah, easy.
the inside of an oven or stuff like that. So that's why we do it with kids as well. Both of my kids who are teenagers now, I taught them very young about, hey, we have guns in the house. You're not gonna touch them unless I allow you to. I did take them to the range very young. Honestly, my daughter was probably, I actually got them started with paintball. We went and played paintball.
I love paintball, man.
We went and played paintball.
I go crazy in paintball, dude.
Do you?
Super competitive.
When was the last time you went?
Probably 6 years ago.
Okay, we should probably figure something out.
Yeah, but I used to play in Santa Cruz County, and we used to go ape shit, man. We used to go in the middle of these fields. There were swamps and rivers and lakes, so we'd walk through the water. And we used to play with this one team called the Marauders. They were all veterans, Marine veterans, but they were like non-veterans. And one guy had the craziest record in paintballing in Santa Cruz County. He took out 6 people with 2 shots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you figure it out?
No.
So the rules of engagement with paintballing is if you can get close enough to somebody, you can't shoot them with the paintball because the damage is
Yeah. You're supposed to execute mercy rules. It's mercy rules.
Put the barrel practically to the back of somebody's head and say, you're out.
Oh, yeah.
You're out.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
out.
Okay.
Two, and then they kicked them off one time.
Snuck up on him.
Yeah, he snuck up on him, but he was that good. And then they kicked him out one time because he snuck up behind somebody and he grabbed the knife and he put the back of the blade on their neck.
Shut up,
You're
man.
out. Like, that's how insane this guy was. They were called the Marauders. This was years ago, dude. I don't even think they're around.
That sounds like fun.
Oh,
man.
dude, we went full balls on. I remember one time we were playing, we had like 8 against 8. And I was like, you know what, dude? I don't like the way these games are going. This guy cheated, blah, 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 blah. So as soon as they blew the whistle, I just ran. I just charged towards the other side. Boom, 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 through the forest, through the grass. I kind of saw them going. I was like, ba, 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 ba. Ran back. And then they were coming to my area where I was shooting them from. And I was just...
You know, that still works. That's still done.
I'm sure. No, dude, but what... Like, I didn't learn this from anywhere. This was just an instinct. This was like when I was young, dude. This was an instinct, and I would tear up the fields, man.
Yeah, they'll still...
Now I hear there's guns that are crazy now, you know.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Anyways.
Electronic and all that. My son and I... We spent a few dollars on those, and we need to get back out there.
The range we went to, I saw there was a paintball field.
Yeah, that one. It's right next door. It's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's called SC Village. We should figure something out.
Yeah.
With kids. Ooh, that would be hella fun.
You using these for the barrel?
Yeah, you can use that for that.
All right,
Just run
so
it through as many times as you need.
So we were talking about, there's a million other ways. Look, my grandfather said, lo único que se pide en este mundo para morir es estar vivo. The only requirement to die is to be alive.
Of course.
You know, because it could be from anything, man, but they are getting too strict on this. And another point that I make with guns, I have guns. Honestly, for me, number one reason I have guns, I like the sport of it. You know, I used to go to these classes and ranges and train and do all these things, you know, before COVID. And that was my thing. It was a sport for me, you know. And some people are like, why do you have guns? Why do you have guns? Are you really worried about? Well, hey, you know, it could happen. You know, it's not my number one concern.
Right,
But you know what? I use it as sport. It's a great sport, and I highly recommend it. It's not a bad skill to learn at all.
Yeah, you know what I like to bring up the analogies, metaphors. I like to say, well, when you drive your car, why do you fasten your seatbelt? Is it because you don't want to get a ticket, or because in the unlikely event that you get into an accident, do you want to remain inside the car, right? And not be ejected out and be badly hurt or killed? Well, that's the same reason why a lot of people want to have guns. It's not like we're wishing to have a life or death encounter with somebody. It's just in the off situation where somebody tries to victimize you, which is the word that I like to use.
Yeah.
Then you have at least a fighting chance, right? You have a fighting chance. You want to have a fighting chance. You don't want to have to be at the mercy of someone. Look, we had this extremely unfortunate situation in Australia very recently, Bondi Beach, right, where these two knuckleheads went shooting indiscriminately, right? The beachgoers. A lot of people lost their life. Many of us in the Second Amendment area community, we say Australia is the one of the main examples that
Strict gun laws.
Anti-Second Amendment, right? They love to point to Australia
As the example.
as an example of what it should look like here in terms of controlling people who have access to firearms. And sadly, we saw a lot of people get lost their lives, sadly, and while waiting for a cop or two who had the nerve to do something about it, right? To try to put a stop to it. However, if you see the video, I mean, the cop that put a stop to it, right, who finally shot the individuals, is nothing short of a hero, of course. However, I'd like to point out, he did do it from behind a tree.
Yeah.
It's not like he went. It's not like he went, running out, like, correct, fully exposed, none of that. So that cop still was thinking about, I need to get back home, right?
Right.
And that should be your mentality as an individual American, because you want to get back home because you have loved ones, right, who depend on you and stuff like that, and because you love your life. You should be able to defend your life with any and all tools that you deem necessary.
Yeah.
For your life, right? It shouldn't. It's I consider it actually very immoral when somebody who's not going to be there to save you. Okay, I want to state this very clearly. The people who say no, people shouldn't own this.
Or this.
People shouldn't own this. You shouldn't be attempting to defend your life with this. Who are you? You're not going to be there to save me.
Right.
I have people who depend on me, people who I love. I want to have the best tools possible to defend my life in the event that somebody, forces me to defend my life. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Somebody makes a conscious decision to try to mess with my life or my livelihood, whatever. I should be able to defend myself. And that shouldn't be controversial at the end of the day.
Should not.
Right?
Should not. It's a great point.
So it sometimes it does become frustrating. It's one thing that I'd like to bring up. So it's difficult for people who are well versed in the Second Amendment and firearms, whatever. It does at times get pretty.
Good to spray here.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets annoying. Honestly, it gets annoying. It gets old that somebody who has no say. Really, truly, they have no say in your life. They don't pay your bills. They're not there at night, watching over your home, right? They're not.
They got no skin in the game.
Correct. I love how you put it that way. Yeah, absolutely. They don't go out with you to church. They don't go worship where you worship. They don't go shop where you shop, right? Whether you go to a grocery store or whatever, they're not there next to you trying to protect you, right? So it's incumbent upon you and us as private citizens to protect ourselves. Because here's another thing: there's not enough money you can pay to any cop to take a bullet for you.
Not at all.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. I got so many things to say about cops and stuff, but I'm not.
No. And again, at the end of the day, cops are humans, right? They're doing a job. Their purpose is to enforce laws. And like we've said before, I'm pretty sure in previous episodes of your podcast, it's been proven plenty of times, shown by the Supreme Court and many courts down below from the Supreme Court. Cops don't have a duty to save you.
It's wild. I'm going to add something to that. Mm-hmm. Most cops would prefer citizens to own guns. I know a lot of cops. Most cops would prefer citizens to have guns.
Well, the truth of the matter is, like I said a few minutes ago, those who dedicate their lives to commit crimes, to victimize people, to steal from you, to, the ones who have the fetishes of raping women or whatever, or robbing banks, whatever the case is, whatever the crime is, the number one incentive is, am I going to get away with this?
Yeah.
And the more people who are armed, that gives those who have ill intent the more reasons to, am I going to get away with this? If you happen to live in a state which now more than half of the states in the union have what we call constitutional carry, those states have seen dramatic decrease in all types of victimization crimes of where somebody is victimizing somebody else, right?
Right.
All those states have seen dramatic decreases because now, if you're somebody who's lazy, right, who you don't see yourself as working to buy your stuff, if all you're thinking is, how can I steal this, right? Or how can I get away with
it, yeah.
with satisfying this horrible urge of raping women? If I live in a state where the government has no say about who is armed, I am thinking, the criminals, right? I am thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Am I going to get away with this? So I think it's
But you
common
keep
sense.
saying that. You keep saying that, and I don't disagree with it. But how you keep saying criminals think, am I going to get away with it? I think most criminals don't think that way. They think, I got nothing to lose. Fuck it.
That's a good point.
I got nothing to lose. I don't even think they think of if they're going to shoot or not shoot or anything. I think I need a gun. I need money. I'm going to look for a victim, which is another thing that I'll throw in for a fun fact. This is why I believe fitness is so important.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because if
100%.
you look the part, you're probably going to get picked on less. And if you don't look the part, you're probably going to be,
100%.
and also being aware, like people walking around, girls walking around half naked with headphones and just la 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 la. You're a victim. You're making yourself a victim, unfortunately. But if you pay attention, if you're aware, and in fitness, I think people get into desperate situations, and I think it's more not how do I get away with this. It's more like what's the easiest way to accomplish what I need to do. I got a gun.
Right.
Never shot it. Never used it.
Right.
I don't plan. I've never killed anybody. Don't want to kill anybody, but But I have a gun.
But I have a gun.
I have a gun that's
and that shifts
illegally. I have an illegal gun. This is the difference between citizens that buy guns legally, that are going to go for training and do this and blah blah, and then people that don't get certified. So now you have somebody that's grabbed a gun from who knows where. You don't know the condition of it. Maybe the intent was. Recently, people have good guns and they maintain their guns and the guns act out. There was that incident of somebody having a gun and it was shooting full auto.
Right.
And it's like, you don't know. Now you get a criminal that gets a gun illegally and you don't know what the history is, if it's ever been cleaned, if it's ever been washed, if it's ever been, covered in anything. And now they slip and fall and accidentally shoot somebody. So I think the mentality more is like, fuck it, I have no other choice. And I want to say, there's always another choice. Just for the bad guys watching this, there's always another choice. But I think the mentality is, I have no other choice. So I'm going to try to take advantage. I'm going to try to do this. Of course, then you have mental health, which I think is a bigger issue, especially when we were talking about deaths and everything else. I think it's a mental health problem. But sorry, because you just said it so many times where I'm like, I don't think they think it through that well.
There's certainly something to it, because if I believe that if you are in a mental space where you can take somebody else's life who hasn't done anything to you, there's definitely something wrong. There's definitely something wrong in your head. That's the way that I see it, because I don't think that I can just willy-nilly go.
I would
challenge,
challenge, but I'd be curious to know how many people have killed people versus accidentally versus, passion deaths.
Right.
Because there's people that are obsessed and passionate, blah, 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 and they'll, it can be love or cheated on, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's just the accidental. I wonder how much of that. And then I wonder how much of those accidentals were because guns were brought to them by they don't know who, and they weren't serviced properly, or they had a misfunction or something. Not a misfunction. They had low services, and it wasn't properly taken care of, and it misfired. I bet you a lot of people have pointed a gun and just misfired. I mean, watch this. I just said, I know a lot of people that have pointed a gun and have misfired. A lot of people will say, what do you say to that comment?
People who have pointed a gun at somebody
and accidentally pulled the trigger.
That's happened. That's definitely happened, and many times. People fooling around, just being young and dumb. That's happened plenty of times. Absolutely.
Plenty of times, and let alone back to how we started off. Clear the chamber multiple trillions of times. People have done it to themselves. Let alone to others. Let alone a criminal with no intent to fire or shoot, or didn't even know it was loaded. Didn't even know it's loaded because they don't know how to check it. They don't know how to do this.
I mean, is it possible? Absolutely.
I think it's more possible than that.
Now here's
I have no facts or proof of this. We're just
no
bouncing it around.
Just conversation. That's entirely fine. But the problem is, Oh, you need to tighten that up. I do. Not here right now. I would have to go off shot and just go
it's
fish.
okay.
Go fish for the tool, but I do have a tool to tighten that up.
Yeah, because I don't.
We can
Yeah.
we can do it after.
Okay, sorry
I'll
about
get it
that.
fixed. No worries. Those do, yeah. We'll fix that up. What I will say about the comment, right? Maybe you're somebody who are desperate, right? And
Desperate.
you found a gun. You went and stole a gun because people. If you get the upper hand, right? You surprise them and you're pointing a gun at them, and obviously they don't want to die, right? So you're going to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, steal their purse or what have you. However, that does not minimize the person on the receiving end. That person is still being presented with what is called lethal,
Right.
a lethal weapon, right? They're still being presented with, you can lose your life here. And you may end up in a situation where you're defending yourself if you happen to be somebody who's carrying a firearm and that person did not intend to kill you, but that is not a
Right.
that's
It's not a justification.
The word that I'm looking for is that person took away that forethought from you. Now you're being forced to react,
Right.
to being presented with lethal force. Because that person, even though maybe they do not intend to hurt you, but they are presenting
but we don't know.
you. Correct. There's no way that, and you have split seconds, right? Split
Right.
seconds to react and to see what it is that you're going to do to defend your life, so you can go back to your life. So that's the sad part about it. But again, that can be done with anything. That can be done with a car, right?
Yeah.
With a shovel, like I said earlier, with a bat, and that person took away from you the forethought. Now you're having to react. How do I get out of this situation? For those of us who do choose to carry a firearm, we absolutely do not wish to be ever put in a situation like this, right? We're having to make that choice, but because of who we love, right? Or loving our own life, and we just live prepared for it. It's the same reason why I have 4 fire extinguishers inside my house, placed in different areas. I love everyone who depends on me, who lives
Close by.
in my home, right? And I want to do everything possible. Think about any type of situation where they could be hurt, and I want to mitigate that, right? And that's why I have smoke detectors, all that stuff. It's why I have my security cameras, right? It's not because I hate anyone. It's because about who I love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to lifeguard, and the number one thing for lifeguarding was prevention. Prevention, Simple. Hey, kid, can you swim from the shallow end back and forth 4 times?
100%.
Prevention. Hey, no running. Hey, it's just prevention. So
and you could be just sitting there.
What's interesting is a lifeguard's job wasn't necessarily to save lives; it was prevent people drowning. Like, that's what it is. And a gun can do that with safety and protection. Shit, imagine somebody breaks into your house and points a gun to you and your family, and then you have no way of defending yourself, and now they can do whatever they want. At this point, they can do whatever they want. They can attack your kids, they can attack your wife, they can attack you, they can steal all your stuff, they can anything. And it's all depending on their mental health being. Is it just about, the materialistic things? Is it just about money? Or is it something else? Is it sexual? Is it abusive?
Correct.
Are they predators? You don't know, but to get in that situation once, I don't know. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Okay, I need to talk about California. What is happening? Are we going to be able to start carrying our guns open carry? First of all, I don't even recommend doing open carry. There's certain situations that, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be legal because it's the Second Amendment and it's our right as citizens. But if you are going to carry, get a CCW. But can we start, now that this passed, what's happening? We can start carrying guns now? Open carry?
No, not yet.
When?
Because of the level of litigation that it's at. California filed a stay, what's called a stay of the ruling, calling the law unconstitutional, so they can call for what it's called an en-banc review at the Ninth Circuit level. So what that means is they want every judge that sits in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, they want every judge to review this case again, to review the ruling of the law being unconstitutional. That's just because the current elected officials in California, they just do not like the Second Amendment. They do not like
the
firearms in the hands.
people that work in government buildings and are protected by armed guards, and they have armed patrol around their house.
Yes.
Those people, right? They're against that.
They are against the common citizenry having access to firearms. They say they are pro Second Amendment, but in practice, by way of all the laws that they've been passing, it just says, it actually says otherwise. It says that they don't. They do like guns. They do like the guns that are protecting them, right?
Right.
But not so much for the common folk. So at the point where we're at, the law has been declared unconstitutional by a 3-judge panel in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The next step, since they are more than likely going to get a stay of that ruling of unconstitutionality, then the full Ninth Circuit is going to review that ruling. Ultimately, the case is going to end up going to the Supreme Court because California, the current elected officials in California, and mind you, just keep in mind, that's why I'm not using the word leaders. I'm saying elected officials. The current elected officials in California are going to make it go that way, all the way through to the Supreme Court. At the Supreme Court, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Once that happens, I don't know how long it's going to be. It's probably going to take a while.
What's a while?
Probably more than a year.
Couple years?
Huh?
Couple years or more than a year?
Probably more than a year. Just because of the so few cases that the Supreme Court takes every year, particularly that are Second Amendment, they take a handful of cases every year of Second Amendment advocates that are challenging anti-gun laws. They probably take not more than 5 a year. So it'll take a while for this lawsuit to make it their way. But once that happens, yes, open carry will again be. Precision matters in words. Open carry has always been lawful because it's the Second Amendment, right? It's an activity that's covered by the Second Amendment.
Right.
Open carry, concealed carry, both are activities, protected by the Second Amendment. What's happened, it's been criminalized. I think that is the correct term to use. Open carry has been criminalized since the 80s when Ronald Reagan was governor here. Because he's the one who passed what's called the Mulford Act. That's the one that banned open carry in the state
Of California.
Yep.
Wasn't the concealed carry illegal in California?
Concealed carry was also criminalized in California, yes.
But now they took that out.
Until the NYSRPA versus Bruin decision of the Supreme Court, which was in 2022. Now they are forced to approve concealed carry if the people are not what's called are not a prohibited possessor, that you're prohibited to have firearms in your possession. If you're not prohibited, you are able to carry in California without being getting a gun charge. Those used to be a thing back in the day in California, gun charges, gun possession charges. Those used to be a thing, but no.
What do you mean it was a thing? How was it a thing?
Well, because when people were not able to either open or conceal carry in California, there was a law that said that you could get a license, but the way that it worked out in California up until 2022 was you needed to be a judge or be somebody who carried large sums of money on you because of your work.
A provable threat or something against you or something.
Correct. And so very few people ever, if ever, qualified for that. Oh, and the whole thing about being of good moral character.
Right.
Which was an subjective. It was a subjective stipulation. It wasn't objective. This is a right that we're talking about.
Right.
You should, if there's going to be some sort of licensing scheme, which I am personally against.
Right.
There should be very objective parameters that people are not going to, hey, this is why you failed. Right? Not, I didn't feel like I really don't feel like your reasons were valid. Which is the way that it worked in California.
Back to my feelings say you're not a moral person.
Correct.
Therefore, we're not going to approve it.
Yeah, it could flat out be this cop, because it was cops, and it is still cops, who are reviewing your application. They just don't like you. All they had to say is, nah, I don't see good moral character. I don't really see that this person, their fear that they're alleging for their life is valid. And that's it. That was end all be all.
That's wild.
And that's bad. Yeah, absolutely. Terrible. That's bad because, again, that cop's not going to be there to, with grandma or grandpa or whoever, right? Who's having to navigate the community, whatever community that they live in, right? They're not going to be there,
right?
To save them. Those people need to be able to save themselves, and that's why I'm such a ardent, Second Amendment advocate. Because at the end of the day, my responsibility is to my family, my loved ones. And also, by the way, they should be able to defend themselves. I have a teenage daughter who's having to traverse the community out there, and there's a law in California right now that says that she cannot have a firearm going to or throughout her school, her current school, right? Is there going to be somebody walking with her at all times? No. She's told me many times that, hey, I had this really uncomfortable situation in the metro coming back home. There wasn't anybody there to protect her. She had to fend for her own, but there is a law in California that says that she would be committing a crime if she had a gun with her, on her.
Yeah.
That is not fair. Right? That is not fair. So,
but where do you draw the line? Because obviously, I mean, I don't know. Certain things have age limits.
Does there need to be a line? Let me ask you. I'm going to answer your question with another question. Is there any place where you don't have a right to self-defense? Is there any location where you do not have a right to self-defense, to defend your life?
Is there any situation where I
place
location to self-defense
where you lose your right to self-defense?
Look, let me tell you something. Self-defense is even tricky, because if I self-defense and I end up winning the fight, I could still be charged. I could still be arrested. I could still be taken to jail. I could still be taking everything.
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
So
you should
that
not
doesn't solve anything.
Well,
my concern with the children or teenagers, I believe everybody has the right to bear arms. But my question is, and I'm not saying they shouldn't or shouldn't, my question to you is, where do you draw the limit? Because I have a teenage son, and I'm not going to say they're irresponsible, but I'm not going to say they're responsible, and the fact that they have a gun, I'm not worried about when he uses it, how he uses it. I'm worried about where the fuck is the gun when he's playing basketball and what's happening, and does other people know about it, and if somebody else finds out about it, what if he gets bullied, what if they corner him, what if they take it away from him at a certain point? It makes people more of a target, back to what we were talking about, open carry versus CCW.
Right.
When you open carry, you're a target now. The first person somebody sees,
100%.
Somebody's going to commit a crime, the first thing they look at, are there any cops? Okay. Does anybody have a gun? Not that I see. All right. Oh, that person has a gun? Okay, I'm going to go after this person first. You become a target. And same thing, I feel like with teens, it's not the part of her protecting herself. It's the other part.
There's been plenty of situations where somebody open carrying and it's that they're not paying attention. Yeah, they get their gun taken from them and they get victimized right there, or somebody else gets victimized with that gun, but
because of it, yeah.
Right. But it's gonna come down to it's all personal responsibility. Every individual, right? We all have the ultimate responsibility for our own lives. It comes down to us.
Right.
So, including.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go for it. Go ahead.
My question would be this. Knowing your daughter's friends, would you feel comfortable them having a gun in their backpack?
It's not about me being comfortable or not.
Would you be okay with your daughter?
Where I land is
having.
Where I land. I get your question, but the framing is not. The framing is what's where it's. I'm going to call it flawed. I'm not talking about. Am I comfortable with somebody else having a gun? I am. I understand that every person has a right to defend themselves, and then they have to make the decisions, the choices of how they go by doing it. Because I'm not gonna be there to save them.
Right.
That's the thing. I would hate to be the one who says, "I'm not comfortable with you carrying a gun." And then they get victimized. Because I said that I'm not comfortable, then they didn't have a fighting chance. Does that make sense? That's where I like. I err more on the side of freedom and responsibility, and them being able to defend themselves. No, the sun is falling.
No, it's okay. Here's where I stand. This is my personal opinion, and I think you're right. I think anybody should be able to have a gun, but I think you should have more training. Like everything, everything
absolutely.
comes to training.
Oh, dude,
like everything comes to training. Like 99% of all these ICE things and police things and this, that, it goes back to training.
It goes back to training.
There wasn't enough training. ICE's training is different than the PD's training. The PD's training is different than the MP training. The MP training is different than this.
We can go down a rabbit hole.
Right, and we go down the rabbit hole. And it's like, if you're going to let kids, like I would want even stricter, not stricter, but I would want stricter training on kids under 18. Once they're 18, it's a different training. But let me tell you something. I would want better training in general for people because I've spent a lot of fucking money on training. I've invested in my own training. And look, I haven't shot in a while today. Look how I started off. And then look how the training kicked in afterwards because I had that instinct and I had that training. But even a few years lack of training, look what happened in my first few shots. That could have been a big issue if it was a real thing. So I think people should invest in training. I think there should be more training. And I think if we get into, early teens, not adult teens, I think there would have to be like a semester or, whatever, 6 months of training because, that's a big responsibility of, if you get into a situation, you have your weapon, but, if somebody finds out you have your weapon, they'll take your weapon.
Well, and I'm so glad you bring that up because there are examples already now happening in different states of the country where the states are coming up with, hey, gun safety class in high school.
Right.
And that's good. Yeah.
That's great.
I would not, where I would caution about, because it would be a slippery slope. It would be placing a training requirement before somebody is able to defend their life with a gun. Because that's something that I just, from the moral perspective, I would hate that somebody puts out a law that says it's mandatory for you to show that you had this training before you can have a tool to defend your life. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to explain it for me.
But what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but where do you draw the line? When should it be that situation? Like for example, you've been charged with the misdemeanor or you've been charged with the felony. Can this person later get a chance if they pass certain training? Age restriction. Should there be age restriction? When should it get to that point? I get how you're safeguarding it.
It's a tricky subject because different people have different, ability levels, right? Different ways that they learn things. They can learn via theory or they can learn via, doing it, right? But I think where we can start is where many places are starting, high school. It used to be many years ago, schools would have shooting teams, right? Public schools had shooting teams in the United States. Then all of a sudden that went away. And obviously with any type of shooting sports, safety is first and safety is always practice. So that was always instilled before, but then all those shooting sports went away from public school. I think it's gonna be state by state, right? But I think if a child is able to reason, and manipulate or know that they shouldn't touch a knife at home, it shouldn't be any different with a firearm. If a child is able to reason that this tool is dangerous if it's misused, right? It should be the same thing with the firearm. It should start with parents, of course.
Yeah, but parents are incompetent.
Some parents are incompetent, and that's something that we as a society have to deal with as it is, no matter what. Then it's not just about firearms, but about anything else. I mean, for God's sakes, we had kids eating Tide Pods.
Yeah.
Just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, but it's
the same thing. You have the things with the teens. Just doing stupid shit.
Correct.
Like the other thing. I had a friend of mine. His kids. This was like 15 years ago. His kid was drunk, and he goes, Robert, he didn't smell drunk. Mm-hmm. He had no odor. He had no nothing. And later on, he finds out that the kids back then, I think they still do it now, they get tampons buried in like I don't know if it's drinking alcohol or rubbing alcohol, whatever alcohol, and they put it up their asses.
Oh,
and they get drunker faster this way.
That's Wild.
It's but yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, dude, this was 15, 16 years
gosh.
ago, man. This was 15, 16 years
Wow.
ago, and somebody just brought it up to me recently that this is still going on.
Wow.
And you don't
Wow.
smell it, but you get even more messed up. Mm-hmm. So,
Wow.
and this
Okay.
is, now you have one of these guys, it's like, hey, did you hear Sally has a bad name to like bring up as a thing, but did you hear Cindy has a gun in her backpack? Her dad got in her backpack. She took the course, and there's no course, so she has a gun. Let's go grab her backpack. I'll distract her. Kids are bitches. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. It's like I go first into that paranoia of like, fuck, dude. Like,
right.
I don't know.
That's a good example.
I don't even trust teens driving my car.
An alternative to that would be how the whole thing about having armed guards and whatchamacallit, metal detectors in front of us, to enter the school and stuff like that. That's something that's been done in the past successfully. Some people disliked it because of the whole thing of, oh, I don't want the school to feel like prison, right? And what have you. But that would be one avenue to do it, right? If we don't feel comfortable as a society having kids armed at school, then let's create an actual secure environment. Where nobody gets to come in with a firearm. However, then it becomes the responsibility, right, of the adults up at the doors, right, to make sure that the place is secure, right? If you're going to take away the ability for the individual to be able to defend themselves, then I would hope that you're going to defend them, right? Provide them with the safety that you are not allowing them to provide for themselves. That goes into the subject of what's being called sensitive places. Right. Sensitive places in several states in the union. It's being called sensitive places, where we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Where people cannot.
We got about 15.
Okay. A sensitive place is a place where people are not allowed to have any weapons. Let's not just say firearms. Any weapons whatsoever. But you would hope that if nobody is able to have a weapon, even weapons that are intended for that they have for their self-defense, then you would hope that you are providing them with the safety, right?
Right.
Safety needed for that. I think that is something that's reasonable, a line. Again, I fall back to, I don't believe you can pay enough money to anyone to take a bullet for you. And we have seen plenty of examples, including high schools, where the cop was like, I'm not getting shot by for anybody.
Well, Texas, for the whole
Texas, in Uvalde, correct. It also was the situation in Parkland, and was that Florida? The Parkland high school shooting, where the school resource officer waited, and he never went in. The families of the kids that got killed in Parkland sued that officer, and also sued the police department which I believe was the sheriff's department. They sued those families sued, and they lost.
And they lost. Gonna ask that they won.
And they lost because, again, the Supreme Court said cops do not have a duty to save anyone. So that's why if you can't have one and you can't have the other, what are you telling me? Are you telling me that people must be victims? People must not have the ability to defend themselves? Because at the end of the day, again, we've already established, if you have criminal intent,
you're going to execute one way or
you're
another.
going to execute it, correct. So that's why it's so good to have this type of conversations, because you need to go through the entire progression, right? Of what are the arguments?
Right.
What are the arguments? Talk about them in real world terms. That's very important. We can talk about theory all you want, but in the real world applications, have we seen already what happens when people do not have the ability to and or the tools, right, in their hands at a moment's notice? Have we seen it? We've seen it plenty of times. What happens, right?
Yeah.
With very extremely sad consequences. I think it may be the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just making sure you're paying attention.
I'm just here to help bounce ideas or give you some clarity. If there
ChatGPT was spying this whole time.
So yeah, man, it's a very difficult subject, right? Very, very, a lot of nuance to it. Obviously, people like us we have the best intentions, right? We hate to see people be victimized. We hate to see people lose their lives. That's pretty much where I come down on this subject is, hey, if I am not going to be there to save these people, I would absolutely hate it that somebody said the reason why you died was because somebody said, no, you don't get to have, no, I don't feel comfortable with you having guns. And then they end up losing their life. That's just where, oh man, I draw the line at you losing your life. That's because of something that I said. Oh no, I just can't, man. I was extremely upset on that day of the Bondi Beach. The Bondi Beach massacre in Australia, because as a Second Amendment advocate, I have heard ad nauseum politicians bringing up Australia. We gotta be more like Australia. We gotta be more like Australia.
Well, you have the examples like Japan too, where they had that guy going around he killed like 30 people with a knife.
Correct.
You know,
mass stabbings, yeah,
stabbings,
and
stuff like that.
And those poor people having to.
I mean, I think more importantly, like if we go back to the basics, there is way more people dying from other things that
absolutely.
you can prevent than messing with citizens of owning guns responsibly. You know, that's just where I think is the line drawn.
Yeah.
You know, like we're so focused. It's that the thing is we're so pro profit that they figure the stricter they are, they're like, oh, these people this is expensive. This is expensive.
Are you coming down on the government making money off of putting all these rules?
The government making money off everything.
Yes,
just everything.
yes,
you know,
yes.
Because here's the thing:
this is
you're
the
going to
tax.
have
They tax a right.
Right.
They tax the right.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money. And,
you better believe
this is expensive. I mean, it wasn't expensive, I guess.
It wasn't.
You know,
it wasn't expensive.
30, 40 years ago.
Correct.
It's like you buy a gun for a couple $100.
Yep.
Ammo was cheap.
Yep.
Everything. Now it's so expensive, but they know people will pay. You know, and they take advantage of it.
Well, because why? Because still, it is very important for people to be able to defend themselves, and not just the self-defense, but yes, like yourself, like how you said, hey, I enjoyed this, right?
Yeah, for me,
It's a great stress release.
Absolutely. Even cleaning it, like this is the first time I'm on camera really cleaning. To be honest, it's like the realest clean that I got into because we were having a conversation. I was like, dude, this is therapeutic. This is like
It is.
This is so calm. Like I was enjoying. I was like, oh oh, look at this little corner.
Exactly.
Especially if you have a little bit of OCD, it's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
and now you're like, oh man, look how nice this looks, man.
Yeah, now it's nice and now it's clean, right? And
Look at the barrel.
it's supposed to
I did this. You saw it.
it'll function properly as intended, right? And
right.
God forbid somebody puts you in a situation where you're having to use this thing to protect yourself or your loved ones.
It'd be terrible if somebody just walks in right now. Okay, give me your weapons. I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't bring a magazine. Man.
No ammo.
You know, this is why you always imagine if that happens and we have no ammo. Now we have the protection without the ammo. We're still messed up. Yeah. You see how like it's a catch-22 here? It's wild, man.
It is, but that's why it's so necessary for people to be to really understand how to exercise this right, what it gives you, the abilities that it gives you, and this ran into my mind right now. Tyranny doesn't just come from the government.
Yeah.
Tyranny, any true act of tyranny is when somebody is trying to impose their will upon you by force. So tyranny can not only can it come from a tyrannical government, but tyranny is an act by somebody else who's trying to victimize you.
Especially now, man. I mean, we're divided by race, religion, color, by block, by zip code, by street, by motorcycle brand. we're so divided by so much.
Yeah.
It's you know, you could have your two neighbors come to your place and just, you know, do whatever they want. And that's the problem. One person with a knife, a sword, can come into your house and do anything they want with the sword. Like that alone is like, what? Where do I get a gun and where do I protect my family with? Period.
100%.
But you know, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
You got to teach your kids. You got to teach your wife. You got to teach your mom. You got to teach, hey, there's a gun in the house. Do not touch it. Or if you're going to touch it, this is how you use it. This is how you load it. This is how you chamber it. You know, it's all education and practice and training. Where can people find you? What's your website? What's your Instagram? What do you offer?
Triggerology _FT on Instagram. Triggerology _FT on X. You can find me there. I'm super accessible. DM me. I provide classes to families, girlfriend, boyfriend, families with young children, especially. We talked about young children. Young children, how we say is, what we say about teach them young, it's not about teaching them to be a school shooter or anything. It's about removing the curiosity. Teaching them about what this tool is, the reason why you have it, because we love you and because we need to be able to defend you, all that good stuff. So I teach groups, families, you name it, here in Southern California. You can find me in those socials, and I'm also a avid Second Amendment advocate, so you'll see me there giving hell to those who say that we should not be an armed society, but guess what, we are, and we will continue to be, because
he's very active. He goes.
That's what freedom is all about.
Yeah. He's very active on this. He goes into, you were in Valencia not too long ago, and you were talking? Did you talk there, or that was an event you attended?
Oh yes, excuse me. That was an event that we had with a group of people who are learning how to become advocates themselves. Right. So I was just sharing some of my knowledge, talking about the verbiage that you should be familiar with if you're going to advocate for your rights, how to effectively communicate all these things. So yeah, that was very cool.
Which we'll do another episode where we should talk about the vocabulary and the wording, because you did mention that. The vocabulary and wording is
precision matters.
Precision matters,
big time.
And people do need to know how to speak to law enforcement, how to talk to even the criminal, the bad guy. You should be able to talk with them directly. You should have a tone, and but we should talk about that. We should make a point.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people do tell me, I want to be able to defend my rights, but I don't know what to say. Exactly. So that's I love doing that.
Yeah, because we hear about the jeweler that buys a gun, because he's scared, and then he gets pulled over by the cops, and
Correct.
he's like, my gun's right here, and he's now arrested, and he can never own a gun.
Yeah.
And all he was doing was protecting his business as legal as possible as he can.
Right.
And it backfired on his face, and now he's got a felony charge, and it's terrible, man.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way, but yeah, there's ways to definitely defend your rights and not get criminalized for it, which is something that we can't have anymore.
Wow. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. At Ride Boundless, all the handles, rideboundless.com. We just got the .com, so check out rideboundless.com. You can find episodes, blogs, and all that fun stuff. And until next time.
Dude, thanks for coming shoot with me.
Bro, thank you for having me in your house, man. Thank you for lunch, and thank you for the range. And how did I do on the range?
Fantastic. Dude.
How much did I pay you?
Once he warmed up.
Once I warmed up. Thanks, guys.